This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, this conference will now be recorded. Well, thank you so much, Mark, for joining us today. Those of you who don't know Mark, he has been a godsend to Lynn and I, helping us get all you guys certified and recertified and updating and fixing things. And especially over the last 6 months, where we've sort of been helping Mark fine tune the Paddle Australia education site, and he's been marvelous. So, Mark, I'm going to take this opportunity on behalf of all of us to thank you for being so approachable and helpful. It is we're just so grateful for your help. As you know, some of us have a very short fuse when it comes to things not working on the computer. Um, but Mark is also an accomplished paddler, and I think that that's very important in this space. He is well versed with paddling on the ocean and doing long trips, and has been instrumental in getting many of the knowledge base documents up and going, so that the rest of us can learn things. So, without much more ado, Mark, I'm going to pass over to you and let you do your thing.
No worries. Thanks heaps, Margie. And again, thank you all for attending. It's good. I know a number of the names on the screen. It's really good to put a face to names, those of you that have your camera on. So, like Margie said, I will share my screen, and I've just been asked to kind of walk through a couple of the education systems, mostly being PaddleLog and PaddleEd, and what they're designed for and how they connect and how they, in theory, all work together. So, like Margie said, it's a world ever evolving, and we're always changing and updating to try to get things more and more streamlined the best we can. Obviously, for some things, we are limited by one, money, and two, systems. But I think we're in a pretty good place at the moment. So I will share my screen. I think. Yes, there we go. Okay, can you all see the PaddleLog screen now? So I can't see any of you now.
Yes.
Can someone? Yes, thank you, Margie. Excellent. So by all means, if you have a question, I can't see you, so you'll have to just call out as we go through. Yeah, so just let me know. So I'll start with PaddleLog. As you may know, PaddleLog's available on desktop, which is what we're looking at now, Android and Apple. And it's very much a online logbook with a few extra features, really. The reason PaddleLog got brought out in the first place, because re-registration was done in a very manual way, both by the participants but also by the PA office. We basically used to have a full-time employee that had to tick boxes and check paperwork and chase appropriate documentation. Now this resource does basically all of that for us. So firstly, people need to sign into PaddleLog with their education username and password. The biggest error we get here is people think that they can use their membership username and password, as in club membership. They are two very different systems. Club membership works in Just Go, and the education system is actually a system inbuilt and in-designed by Paddle Australia. So once you're signed in, you know you're signed in because you have your username in brackets next to your name. Now, basically, this PaddleLog connects directly to the education system, which is where all your qualifications and assessments are all housed. So you can refresh your qualifications, which grabs the most current information from the system and pulls it into the app. So as you can see, that student demo has two qualifications. One is still current. You can tell by the date and by the green tick. And the other has just run out, a couple of weeks ago, which means I can still renew because it still has a little circular sort of arrow. If it was outside of 3 months, it'll then have a red cross saying that I can't renew and to contact Paddle Australia. I'll show you how to renew in a second. Other features in here is a student will have their assessments. So if they're undertaking an assessment with an assessor and the assessor has sent them information, they end up in here along with the status that they're at. So soon, once we go into PaddleEd, I'll submit an assessment and you'll see how it shows up for the students. So as you can see, these two are currently pending payment. And then we can find our logbook entries. So this is just what's currently in this logbook. Now to enter a log, again, apologies if most of you are across this. Quite simply, you just add a log entry and then complete the appropriate fields. Generally speaking, when you choose one area, it changes the boxes below. So if I go whitewater, as you can see, then it asks for river gradings, etc. Okay. If you're the sort of person that does the same trip many times, you don't have to start from the start. You can simply copy the last entry, and as you can see, now it says copy, and then you can go in and edit that last log entry. So it makes it really, really quick, especially if for commercial operators that are doing the same thing, same place, same day. You can just copy the same trip and change the appropriate fields. Okay, so what all these logs do is they enable re-registration of a qualification. Okay, you can also see where you're standing. So as we said, the C instructor qual expires in 2023. So obviously I've got about 18 months to renew that. I can press renew now, and it tells me if I've got enough points in my current logbook. So as you can see, I do, because they're all green ticks and it says congratulations. But if I was short, it would say, you need to go out and do some more instructing or personal paddling in the next 18 months. So I know what I've got to gain. For one that's up for renewal, again, you press renew. Again, it will calculate the points from the logbook entries. Now it is logbook specific, so in craft specific. So if it's a sea kayaking, or this is a flat water instructor kayak, it won't accept flat water instructor canoe, for example. So it is specific to the qualification and the craft in which you are trying to renew. Once you have the points, you then simply follow the steps below. You need to have a pair reference. How many I put in here? I don't know anyone's number off the top of my head. I can put myself actually, because this isn't mine. So you put in, this might be a paddling buddy. This person can just confirm that your skills are at the level they should be and that your logbook, to the best of their knowledge, is correct. Once you've done that, you simply submit that renewal. And then that has gone to the PA education system. What that does, like I say, the PaddleLog has checked the logbook, so we don't need to do that. And that will generate an invoice for that renewal and send it via email to student demo. Once then that is paid, then it's a bit of a manual system at our end. I go in and say that yes, it's been paid, and the new certificate is sent out, and the dates all then change. The only thing you do have to do in PaddleLog is, again, refresh the qualifications for it to update that final expiry date. So you can see here, it has updated that this will be the new date, and the dollar means it's just waiting to be paid. So another key question we get in PaddleLog is about backing up or losing their logs. Now, PaddleLog is only saved to the device in which you are entering the logbook. So I'm currently on my desktop, so this log is only on my desktop. If I went and got my phone out and logged in as the same person, the log wouldn't be on my phone. Okay, it's device specific and also browser specific. If I opened up a different browser, it won't be in there. Now, in saying that, it's really easy to change between the two. Excuse me. We go to the top left icon of 3 lines. All we simply do is we can export, and we can do a full export, and what that'll do is that'll create a CSV file that then we can import or save into another device. Or the other easiest way is we can export for assessment. And what that does is that basically forces a backup into the PA system. So if I just go back into this screen again, top left, and then you'll see there's actually an option for list backups. Now the system automatically does do backups, but it's about every month when you go into your PaddleLog. So the backup for assessment that I just did, I forced a backup, and it goes back up into the system. that I can then retrieve from another device. So now if I sign into another device, I can list my backups and grab one of these. You'll see mine are very, very different because this profile gets used for all sorts of testing. So ignore the change in rows. Okay, and that's pretty much it for PaddleLog. Like I say, I'll come back to this My Assessment once I've completed an assessment in PaddleEd, so you can see how students use that. So before I jump into
Mark?
PaddleEd, yes, do we have any questions, Margie?
Yes, I was just wondering, how does this work for the coaching community? We have a few coaches
Okay.
watching.
Cool. No, good point. So at this stage, the coaching isn't automated in the system. We currently have, which is what PAQS used to have, a paper system. However, you can still use PaddleLog to create your logbook. So you still need to submit a logbook, and you can use PaddleLog. So when we create an entry, you'll see the top one of category is recreation. You can change this to also being coaching or officiating. So when you change it to coaching, again, I'm not sure if you noticed, but some of the boxes change below. Again, more than happy to receive some feedback if we're not covering everything. You choose the type of environment you're on, the type of discipline you are undertaking, and so on as you go through. Again, depending on which one of these you choose, it doesn't change anything, the boxes below will change as well. Okay, and you just work your way through. So at this stage, the intention is in the future to move coaching into the same automatic renewals. It's just simply not there yet. Any other questions about PaddleLog?
Yep. It's Annette here from Sutherland Shire Canoe Club. Can you just where do we find this app?
Sorry. Okay, that's a good point. So you can find it either through so either through the PA website under renewals or under PaddleLog, you will find it. Otherwise, if you just go to an app store and type in PaddleLog, whether it be Android or Apple, then it will come up. And apologies if you can read can you guys see my web address at the top? I'm not sure if you can see that.
Yes, I can.
Page. Yeah, so it's actually just paddlelog.paddle.org.au. I'm just doing this presentation in a development site, so just ignore the dev words. That's not normal. Obviously, we have a development site where we test things, then we have a live site. So the live site is www.paddlelog.paddle.org.au. And it's personal preference if you like a desktop or if you like a phone.
I've put that up into the chat group if anybody wants to copy it.
Awesome, thanks, Margie. Now it's actually not supported by all browsers. Now that's not a function of PaddleLog. That's actually the browsers not being able to support the functionality of PaddleLog. So if you're using a browser that it doesn't accept, a little note will come up saying PaddleLog isn't supported by this browser. Okay, I'm currently using Chrome and it's not a problem.
Mark, it's Sue O'Rourke here. Can you just explain how you can link your qualifications into PaddleLog? Because we have some qualifications that are sitting in our, our Paddle Australia account, like our first aid and all that sort of stuff. And then we've got our qualifications, either officiating or coaching, that are sitting in the education side. Should that all automatically log into the qualifications?
Correct. So what I'm in now is the education site, what you're talking about, I believe. So this is this individual's profile, student demo, and this is the qualification this person holds. These qualifications in here are exactly the same as they are here in PaddleLog. So to refresh or bring in the most current qualifications, you simply just press refresh qualifications. And if this person had a coaching or officiating qualification, that would also be dragged into this view right now. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so Emily's just trying to do hers.
Yep.
And it's not linking the two. I think mine's all right for officiating, but she can't link her coaching ones. into her PaddleLog for some reason. I don't know why.
Okay. Yeah, by all means, flick me an email. I can look at it. As long as you're signed in and it's definitely got your PAID number in brackets, that kind of means it's connected. The only thing to test again is, in case you haven't been in for a while, is just go in and retype your password and just verify your login again.
Okay, so her PaddleLog isn't showing her correct PA number.
Okay, so she's potentially created a new profile. So that's something other people do. They try to sign in, it doesn't work, and you can then just create a new profile. But of course, a new profile, it's not smart enough to go. It will stop duplications to a point. But if a new profile is created with a different email address, it creates a new profile, and as far as the system knows, that's a new person with no qualifications. We can fix it. We can clean it up. Just send us an email, and we can remove the one that's new and link you back to the original.
Okay, we'll do that because she probably created her coaching one with her school account, like her high school account, which she obviously doesn't have now. Okay, we'll do that.
That's easily fixed. Not a problem at all.
Thanks.
Okay, so if there's nothing else there, then I'll jump across to PaddleEd, and like I say, I will come back to PaddleLog shortly. So PaddleEd is again an app designed mostly around for instructors and assessors to be delivering qualifications and finalising assessment. Now you sign in with the same username and password. And then in here you will find there's two different types of courses. One is NTP courses, which is National Training Provider, in case you're not aware. Mostly these are leadership courses in which an assessor or an instructor is running in conjunction with a national training provider. So, for example, Paddle New South Wales. The other one, My Courses, is because any instructors can actually create and deliver and assess skills courses directly through the system. It doesn't have to go through a national training provider. So I'll look at first the NTP courses, and then I'll look at the My Courses option as well. So in here, again, when a assessor either requests to run a leadership qualification or Paddle New South Wales have asked an assessor to run something, they will create the course in the system, and then participants will register in that course. Now, there's a number of ways a participant can register in a course. Paddle New South Wales can do it for them. You can send out a link for them to register themselves. You can upload a whole course attendance sheet. So there's a number of ways to get the participants into the system. Once they're in there, that course is also then assigned to the assessor who is assessing that program. Okay, that way they get to see the program in PaddleEd. So again, you need to refresh your courses, which will again pull in the most current information within the education system into PaddleEd. Now, as you can see, this person currently has 3 courses. Now, sorry, I set one up to test, and I think it's Flat Water Guide. And again, once you go into here, you will then see all the students that are in that course. Again, it's an idea to refresh these to make sure you have the most current list. So as you can see, there is one person, and this person is enrolled in the course. There can be another status that this shows, and that's most likely pending waiver, because when a participant is enrolled in a course, they're sent an email to say, hey, you have been enrolled. Are you happy to be enrolled? And do you accept the terms and conditions, which is basically a standard PA insurance one-pager. Pretty standard, to be honest. But once the assessor is in here, I'm in my course. I can see my students that are enrolled. When I then click on this person, now I get, for those of you that have seen one before, a pretty standard old-style paper assessment record that's now been moved into the digital world. Okay, so you can expand all these. Again, it's the same if you're using a tablet or a phone. There's a little eye to the right-hand side. You can click on that little eye, and that tells you, as the assessor, what you need to see in order to mark somebody off in this category. And then you can add notes against that individual item. Okay? Those notes then become viewable to the participant at the end of the assessment. Okay? Now, what you need to do is on this 0 to 5, is it's a grading system. So 3 is a pass, 5 is exceptional, 0 is obviously a fail, and you can choose anywhere in between. So you can go through individually and mark these, which as you can see can be a little bit time consuming because there's about 40 of these in this qualification. Or what you can do, if you're on a smart device or a touch screen, you can actually just do a long hold. So you just hold your finger on one of these. You do the same in the desktop version here. You just held my finger on for a long time, and then this box pops up. So this will set the grading for all the criteria that have a current value of 0. So what I personally normally do is I go and set them all to 3. Whoops, that didn't work. So I'm on a brand new computer here. It should be just the same though. Oh, it's not going to work. I apologize. I'm in the development site. So I wouldn't mind showing you that. So I really got to jump to the live site. I don't think that's a feature in here. No, it's not. I apologize. So I won't make you wait. What it does do is you can see, just do a long hold, and in the live site, I guarantee you it does it. You simply select like a 3, they'll all become 3s, and then you can go back and change the odd one if you wish to a 5 or a 4 or a 2 or whatever it may be. Sorry, I'm going to have to complete these now so I can submit it. Sorry, didn't test that. Are there any questions while I'm doing this? As you can see, quite time consuming without the feature of being able to do a long hold. Sorry. This is really boring to watch, isn't it?
So Mark, in the future, are you going to plan something like this for the coaching fraternity as well?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be this detailed at this stage, Margie. But ideally, a practical sign-off sheet would be great to have in here, just to, again, keep the process all nice and streamlined. The biggest, I think, feature that a lot of the PAQS assessors are finding is that this removes the need to, one, print off assessment records, complete them, pass them on to the participant, for them to then sign, to then scan or photograph and fax or email back to PA, which is what the old system was. So this keeps everything online. You can still export the assessment record. You can still do it with a pen and a bit of paper and send it back. This just enables you to do everything online so that, like I say, you don't have to do it while the participant sat in front of you. You can go home with a glass of wine and complete it that evening. I'm just completing this so I can submit it so you can see what it does for PaddleLog. Okay, I'm just going to save that. Now, what this does is this system, again, like I say, it talks to PaddleEd. And in PaddleLog earlier, if you remember, I exported for assessment my logbook. Okay, and there it was there, backup for assessment. What that actually is that's for assessors to use so that to gain any qualification, you need a minimum logbook time. And this way, again, rather than the participant either sending you via email a logbook or showing you their logbook workbook or anything, you can simply import it directly from the system. So what this does, it looks for that logbook that's been saved, and here it is. So I've imported it directly, and now I can view that participant's logbook. So that's the logbook that was saved over here in PaddleLog. Yeah, that's the extra log entry I created before, the one that said copy. Okay, so now the assessor can view this logbook to determine if they have the required logbook time. Again, don't have to do it that way. That's just a feature that it has to enable an assessor to do that. Okay. Otherwise, the assessor can simply just view the logbook and in experience mark off that they have achieved the logbook requirements. It's simply just a feature built in for if you want to use it. Okay. So once I've completed all the assessment criteria and I'm happy that they've passed, the assessor simply makes them passed, saves it, It'll let you know if anything's incomplete. Assessor date. The reason it does that is because we used to have many assessment records come in that were incomplete, and we had to send them back to the assessor for completion. You can imagine how long some of those took. So there you go. So now it's all saved and completed. So now as the assessor, I just send this off and I submit this assessment. Are you sure? Yes, I am. So I should have left it up a bit longer. It said, am I sure? Because once I've done that, me as the assessor, I'm no longer able to adjust or amend this assessment record. As you can see, it's now gone green and it's got a little padlock, which just means it's locked. I can still view it, but I can't do anything else with it. Okay, and you can see that they are passed in the system. Now, it will take a little while, so I don't think this is going to be there straight away. But what that has actually done, it has sent an email to the participant to say that the assessor has finished their assessment record, and it's also sent it to their PaddleLog. No, see, it won't do it that quick, unfortunately. It takes, I think it's about a 7-minute turnaround that the systems all talk to each other. So I may have to come back into here soon. And basically what will happen is that assessment will show up here and it'll be pending acceptance. And I'll be able to click on it and view it just like I can this one. So I can view this assessment record. I can view, there's obviously no comments on this one. But you can view the whole thing and then you can read the declaration and you accept it at the bottom just by pressing accept. Once you've accepted, you're then sent a email with the invoice for the registration. Okay. Any questions on the NTP courses? Now, I won't go through that whole process for the next courses. I'll just show you how to generate those because the process is exactly the same as far as passing a participant and submitting it to the system.
Mark, Adrian here.
Hey, buddy, how are you?
I'm fine. What's the purpose of the interim certificate?
Oh, there you go. Sorry, it's coming now, Adrian. You'll see it there, pending acceptance. The purpose of that was more around the basic skills qualifications, to be honest, to enable teachers, if they want to hand out a certificate at the end of, completing a basic skills course with their students, they can generate them, they can print them, and they can hand something out. So that's all. It's its only intention is if you want to give out a bit of paper at the end of the day.
Thanks.
That's right. So there you can see that one has come through now. It just took a few minutes. As you can see, it's pending acceptance, and that'll look exactly like the last one I just showed you. So a participant goes in, they can add their own comments, and they simply accept it. Again, it just says once you've done that, you're unable to add anything else to it. So the assessor will get notification that their participant has done that, so they know where it's up to every step of the way. Okay, so like I say, now it's in the PA system, an invoice has been emailed, and we're just waiting for that invoice to be paid. Okay, so I'll go back into the home page of PaddleEd, and this is the My Courses. So like I say, an instructor can create courses for themselves. They can then lodge that into their PA system and they can enroll students and pass them just the same as I just showed. So we simply go into the My Courses. Again, you can refresh these. I don't think this person will have any in the system. No. If I did have some under this profile, they would show up, but I'm going to have to add a new course. Now you select the qualification or the course that you're wishing to deliver. Now these show up. This list will be different for everybody because this is the list dependent on this individual's qualifications they hold. Hope that makes sense. So you'll see there's no whitewater skills in here because this person doesn't hold a whitewater instructor certificate. These are the only ones I can deliver with the qualifications I hold. So I can set this up as anything I like. I'll put in my start dates and my finish dates. I put in test because when it goes into the system, I can find them and delete them. I can max out the participants if I want to. That way, the registrations will cease. and then I save it. When I save, now again, this is only saved to this device, okay? So when I save, it comes up saying, do you want to submit this? It's just easiest to go yes. You can go no and submit it later, but what yes does is it submits it into the PA system, which enables you then to register and assess participants. Same as before, you can add participants in a number of ways. You can add them individually like I'm doing now, or you can import a whole list. If they've been in the system before, as you see, they pop up. So I'll just enroll the same person. Now I can either just save them, in which case they'll be sent an email asking them to accept the waiver, or if this person's in front of me, I can just accept the waiver for them and it will enroll them. So now this person is enrolled in the PA system, in the PA course, and well, in this trainer's course. And again, now it's back to the same screen as before as the assessment record. And you can go through and complete this as I just showed before. Is there any questions on there? I don't think there's any more in there.
Does anyone have any questions before I ask another question?
Margie, you with questions, really?
You're good. So Mark, with the coaching side of things, at the moment, the way it works in Paddle New South Wales is I'm in contact with the people who are coaches. They then send me PDFs of the proof of them having achieved all of the required online learning and logbooks, and then I hit passed.
Yep.
On their little that page. Then
yes.
what
Yep.
happens? What happens
okay.
then?
Okay, so like I say, so coaching is in a little bit of a different world at the moment, only because most of you'll be aware development of coaching qualifications has been slow at best. And they haven't really made it into the system at that stage. So the system you're talking about there, Margie, is actually the system we use in our admin area of the education site. So you have a thing that looks not really like this because I have a different one again. But you have something that looks more like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you go and like you're saying, you pass a person.
Yeah.
So if it was this person here, the student demo, you go in, you make them passed, you attach or whatever the appropriate documentation, and then you update it. Yep. So this is basically another system, Margie, that ends up with the same result. What that does is it sends it to me to show that, hey, Paddle New South Wales have passed this person for this qualification, and I just approve it manually at my end still for coaching qualifications. It's not automated like the ones are in PaddleEd.
Can we make it easier for you? Because sometimes I know you get very busy. Would it help you is there something I can do to get the person who's been qualified so that they know they've passed quicker?
Yeah, I think, well, the part I've got to get the system worked at the moment. At the moment, it comes in, none are in here. Oh, sort of like these aren't live. These are, I'm in the development site, so there's nothing here.
Yeah.
So you can see here where it's got approved and paid. When you put it in, Margie, this approved actually says no. That's because it's PA to do the final approval. Basically, I'm checking, basically and it's a bit old school. It's back to when we had 32 different training providers. We used to go in and check they've uploaded the appropriate documentation. To be honest, it's probably a step we could clean up now that our training providers are only our state paddle associations. So you're right. There's probably a little bit of streamlining that could be done to the system in that space.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, from my perspective, if people send me the PDFs, it's very easy.
Yes.
I just have to hit the pass button. And I must admit, what I have been doing then is I've been sending people an email advising them that I have passed them. But what I sometimes worry a bit about is that if that person then starts coaching, are they covered by insurance before they get the official notification from you?
Not really until they pay. To be honest, they don't normally sit in the system without me approving them for more than 48 hours. I mean, if you submit it on a Friday, yeah, I'd probably don't check it to Monday, to be honest. But that would be the longest period. It would be sat in the system in here
Okay.
unapproved. What it then
Okay.
is that it's unpaid, because as soon as I approve, then they sent the invoice as soon as I hit the button.
Okay.
And that's
So that
normally the longer part.
Okay, actually, that's really the important part, is that the insurance and the coverage and all the support that coaches get only kick in once the invoice is paid.
Yeah,
Okay,
correct.
gotcha.
Yeah. So what it does is, again, the system sends it when I hit the button, and I go in. Basically, I can resend all invoices in one go. So I go in there every couple of weeks and resend all unpaid invoices. So they probably get it a number of times. Yeah, I think the biggest issue we have is because it comes from it doesn't come from me personally. It comes from I think it's a no reply email. A lot of the time you'll find it in junk and spam. So often people go, I haven't received it. When they actually search for it, they have received it, but it's not in their primary accounts. But unfortunately, slightly out of our control, that one. So that's our PaddleEd. I'll show you what that is. So that is, in PaddleEd, you can generate assessment records for qualifications. So in here, you could select a qualification of any type, and you can generate an assessment guideline. So if you're an assessor wondering, I want to issue flat water guide, geez, I can't remember what I have to assess to, instead of having to create the whole qualification and enroll, you can find these on our website. This is just another means of finding the same information in PaddleEd. You can choose a qualification. You can view the details of that qual, who can assess that qualification, and then you can generate the assessment guidelines. That should create a PDF. There it is. Now, the reason they take a little minute is because all PDFs that are created, whether you're using the PA website or whether you're using PaddleEd, they're generated on the spot. So they're actually not a saved PDF. The PDF actually gets made as you request it with the current information that's in the system. So if I went in the system right now and changed, I don't know, a whole line within this, as soon as you generate it next time, it'll give you the updated information. So that way these are as current as they can possibly be. And so this here is the paper form of what I was showing you earlier in PaddleEd when I was assessing somebody. It's a paper form of one of these. So that prepare appropriate equipment will be under here. Does that make sense? Hopefully. Any questions at all? It's all very quiet. So there are two systems. Like I say, when people are using them correctly, I suppose, it's very, very quick and very, very streamlined. I can complete a whole assessment in paperwork-wise in less than a minute. The issues we come across is obviously assessors and people aren't using the systems as much as I am. And it's when you come back to it 6 months later and go, oh, what button was I meant to press again? I can't quite remember. So what we've done on both PaddleLog and PaddleEd now is on their home pages. Hopefully it's a little bit more obvious of where you can find some support. So there's PaddleLog support and there's PaddleEd support. This takes you to a support page that then has a breakdown. This one may not go anywhere, being the dev site. Yes, it does. Of a bunch of how-to videos, so how to submit assessment records, how to save them, how to do an NTP assessment, a skills assessment, etc. So it's an ever increasing list of how-to videos. As more questions come in of things that we haven't covered, I just increase that library to help people out.
How visible is people's profiles to other people apart from, like for instance, people in our club?
Yep.
Are we able to see what qualifications people in our club have got, or is it only the individual that can see their profile?
It's only the individual. It's the only individual who can see their qualifications. Obviously, Margie and Lynn can see them all.
We can see it in Just Go because the same information, you can upload your qualifications to Just Go in the membership part. So that's where we should ask. I think I'm the only one in our club who's ever done it, but all my qualifications are uploaded. So yeah, we don't have that.
Just Go, can you view each individual's all of their qualifications? Can you?
Yes, if they have uploaded them. I have to. Yeah, so it's not. There's no link to the education system, so you can save your first aid certificates. You can save all of that stuff up there.
Yep.
Boat license, I think you can even do.
But is that a separate upload?
Well, you can still.
Yes. The member can do it, or we can do it for them. Much more knowledgeable.
You, Lynn, in this system. I'm not sure if you'll be in here.
But I don't think anybody can go into Just Go and upload somebody else's information.
You can. If you're an administrator, a club administrator.
Only if you're an administrator.
Yeah. So Gareth and I, and I think James are all club administrators, so we can.
So we've got a little bit of the same thing. You can view somebody's details. So here's some details in here, and we can view them. But these people have requested that they can be viewed. So there's a setting in your individual settings that you can hide yourself if you so wish. You don't want your details viewable. So it depends on what people have got set. So there's no guarantee you're seeing everybody because you don't know how the individuals have got them set in the education system.
Right. Is that at a club level or global level? Or is there
global. So this is it's at individual level. So this you sign in as your individual level into PaddleEd. The only person that can see all of them is me. And I think Margie and Lynn, I think you can see everybody as well. At a state and a national level, we can see everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
No worries. So you'll see in here, you can edit details, and there's a setting in here that I can set to say if I want to be visible. I'm not going to find it now, I bet you. There you go. Allow people to see my qualifications, yes or no. You can also select if you're available for work, yes or no. So when you go into the system, if somebody's green, I don't know if you saw before, I went in and it was green, means this person's available for work, and you can see my qualifications. And then you can also see where I live on the map.
Okay.
Yep. This is actually a space that we're looking at increasing. We're looking at doing some surveys around this, again, to try to expand our knowledge of who we've got out there in the paddling world. We have very little knowledge of who's available for work. Most people don't know this is even an option within their profile. But we also want to try to gain some information around, does this person have craft available to them? If so, how many and what type? Because that will enable the states and things to potentially target this person and go, hey, I believe you've got some craft. We're really after a come and try to happen in your area. Are you keen to run something for us, for example? So we're going to try to, again, it's everyone's free choice if they want to populate it or not, but we're going to try and grow our database of knowing where craft is.
Mark, I am a little bit curious about this. There's a bunch of us who have been members of Paddle Australia for 30 plus years who have two member numbers. We have a member number in the education, and it's different to the member number in the main database.
Correct.
Which member number are you using to find these people?
Fun,
it's
isn't
the
it?
Education one?
Yeah, so you're right. So we've got a club membership number, which is at the moment, that's your Just Go number. I think it's, I don't even have one. I think it starts with No, I don't know. That's your club number. And then you've got an education number, which is the one, everything I've showed you is all your education number. It's not Just Go at all. Okay, it's not your membership number, it's your education number. Okay, if you
So I'm
don't
just
know
curious, how does
why,
Just Go find the education information? Because
it
my
doesn't.
understanding was that
Doesn't. You have to
It
upload it.
doesn't automatically. There's no link
you
between the
have to
two
upload it.
systems. They
Yeah.
are looking. There was a whole paper done on a link between the two systems. What they were trying to get to is the stage of a single sign-in, so that we did only have one sign-in number. But to be honest, it's still a piece of work ongoing. They're still trying to work out how they'll do it and the cost associated with doing so.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are still two numbers. There's definitely a confusion out there for sure. But we're aware of it. Just haven't found a solution to it yet, to be honest.
Okay. Are there any other questions? I have one more
Look,
that I think is quite relevant,
yeah,
and
no
that
worries, mate. I was
is
going to say, also, everyone, go and have a play. You can't do any damage in PaddleLog or do anything wrong or anything. So by all means, have a play. And if you find something, I wonder how I did it. Don't just flick me an email or give me a call, and I'll work you through it.
what's the
Sorry, Megan.
deal for people who are trying to qualify now after 2 years of very difficult circumstances in terms of getting experience?
Yeah, cool. No, so currently then to renew for our standard, I don't know, guide is 100 points, which has previously been that has to be gained over the last 3 years of logbook. Now we've currently done two things. I think we're going to have to look at doing more because, like you say, in a lot of states it's been 2 years before you've even been on the water or since you've been on the water. So firstly, we're very, very flexible in this space at the moment, but it does involve them contacting us to let us know. Right back at the start of COVID, people were given an extra 3 months expiry. Seemed like a good idea at the time, thinking that COVID was going to be finished in 6 months. So now 2 years down the track, it's not obviously the case. And the other thing we've done more recently, I don't think there's the notice come up. I've already been in. They're actually accepting the last 4 years of logbook time rather than 3 at the moment, with the possibility of pushing that out to 5 if we need to. But to be honest, I probably get 2 or 3 people contact me a week saying, hey, I'm trying to renew my qualification due to COVID and floods and fires and whatever else it might be. I haven't been able to get on the water. I'm only at 60 or 70 points, whatever it might be. And most of the time is not a problem. We'll renew it for you as it stands because that's the way of the world at the moment.
Okay, we've got a question in the chat. Kathy, do you want to put your sound on, Kathy, and ask Mark directly?
Yes, Mark, I'm a new student and a new member of Paddle Australia, so I'm just getting my head around how how membership works and what's expected of students. And actually, I decided to watch this webinar because I thought there might have been a section on the basics of filling fields, but it's been a good seminar anyway because, as the promotion said, this webinar's for aspiring leaders as well. Anyway, you've mentioned that there are 2 numbers. So one, I imagine, is the Paddle Australia number, which is connected to the club, and the other is for your account in PaddleEd, which I gather we need to use as students as well. So when we're filling out our PaddleLog, I just wanted to confirm that we're using our PA ID.
The education one. So the one that you should have received an email saying you're enrolled in a course and it would have created you a profile.
Yes, just this afternoon.
Yes, it'll be that number. It'll be 6 digits.
Yep.
Can't think of what numbers we're up to at the moment. About 300,000, I think. Maybe somewhere around there. And it'll be that number that you use to log in to your PaddleLog.
All right, thank you.
That's all right. So something I didn't show before in the Paddle education system, I think I showed that this is where you edit your details, so your personal details. It's also where you view like your qualifications, so you can download certificates. Again, you can do all this in PaddleLog as well. It's also where you can see the courses that you're enrolled in, and it's also where you can view your resources. So you click on here and you can view all the resources assigned with that course, the quizzes, etc.
Thank you.
All right.
So, Mark, sorry, I haven't done a course in a long time. Where would I find my student education number, rather?
Oh, just go in. So if you go in not signed in.
Sorry?
So I'm just trying to get to the screen to show you. If I log out, maybe that will get you there. Here we go. You can just go reset password. And when you go in there, just put your email address that you believe you will have it linked to.
Okay.
And your last name, and they'll then send you an email. If it's an email address you no longer have access to, like an old work email, you do just need to flick me an email and I can reset it for you, update your email address and resend you a password.
All right. And all of the New South Wales people, in actual fact, I can do it for the whole database, but I'd rather not. But the New South Wales people, if you've forgotten that number, I can also get it for you.
Yeah.
By just searching your name in my access to the education website as the coaching coordinator, and Lynn can do the same for the PAQS people.
Exactly.
So just pick up an email as well if you want.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they can get your username and then you can use that to reset your password. Yep. And Margie, you also have the ability to update somebody's email address. So if they have changed it, you can update their email address and then they can reset their password.
Yes, that's correct. Patricia, have you got a pen?
Yes.
I'll email you with your number. How's that?
Oh, that's okay. Thank you. Ta.
So it's as quick as that, guys. I just need your name and your surname, and voila, your number just magically jumps out at the screen at me. Isn't that lovely?
That's easy.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Yep. I have another one. Yep. I'm a flat water kayak guide. I have that qualification.
Yeah.
One of the challenges I find with logging stuff is that I do it just at a club level. I guide club paddles. I don't guide tours and commercial things. And so what's the flexibility around the log requirements? And I suppose it's the same for instructors and anyone else who's just doing it at the club level, as opposed to someone who's, training people for state level events and all that sort of stuff.
Absolutely not.
I do lots of 1 hour guided paddles. I don't do very many 3 hour ones. So to get my qualification, I had to schedule all these things just to have the right paddles. And I'm going to have to do the same when I renew. I'm going to have to schedule special things just to get the logbook hours.
If you're doing lots of 1 hours, I personally wouldn't. Don't forget the 1 hour. If you're on the water for an hour, don't forget the logbook time you put in here under duration is the whole program. So the whole program isn't necessarily just you on the water. So I reckon for most people would struggle for less than 3 hours because it includes you looking at the forecast maybe the night before to see what the weather's going to be. You're packing up your paddling equipment to go paddling. You're loading your boat. You're unloading your boat. You're washing your boat. Because all those items all lead into the safe program that you're about to deliver. So they're all part of the program.
That makes it easier. Because I've always wondered how I was ever going to find time to do all these 3 hour paddles.
No. Honestly, I reckon you would never do more than less than 3 hours. Sorry, if you include all those other parts in there. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. And as far as who you're coaching, that doesn't matter. If it's club, if it's family, I know there is a select who the type are. To be honest, that is only in there for us to get a gauge on who our assessors or our instructors and guides are delivering paddling to. So it gives us a little bit of an insight, if you like, to who's paddling in the world.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I have one question, but it's related, but not necessarily this topic. I don't know.
That's all right. We'll take that.
I'm not sure. Coming up in July, there's a leaders weekend I think and I just want to ask who that's targeted at, and would a paddle guide get something out of it? It looks like it's more for coaches.
Oh,
Is that something you're
Annette,
across?
are you talking about the Penrith conference, the leaders,
Yeah,
PAQS leaders
yeah,
and coaching conference?
yes.
Lynn, and I'll talk very briefly, and then Lynn can have her say. Lynn and I are organising it. It's directly in response to the key items that people identified in the survey that we sent out late last year, which many of you would have received. And it was so curious how many, how the PAQS people and the coaches kind of had very similar interests. And so it might appear that it's directed at the coaches. That's not the case at all. It's very much directed at the hands-on skills that both groups need or have asked for updates on. We have one session where we divide the group, and the PAQS people will go off and do some stuff that's more related to their interests, and the coaches will go off and they'll be working with hopefully NSWIS or YS coaches, learning how to write programs. But the rest of the topics are topics that both groups have found interesting and important in their day-to-day operation within their award, within their qualification. Lynn?
So a paddle guide would get something out of that conference.
I think so, but I'm going to defer to Lynn quickly.
Gosh, can you hear me? Can you
Yes,
hear me, Mark?
I can hear you.
Oh, for goodness sakes, I thought I was out of the whole webinar for the whole evening. Well, that's wonderful. No, it is for PAQS people as well, definitely. And I wish I could have asked Mark some questions along the way. How many assessors and instructors were in the group?
How many are there?
Mark?
Oh,
or
tonight?
Margie?
Oh.
Yeah.
Adrian Clayton's here.
Well, yeah, I think that's all I could recognise. The biggest problem I have with finishing people is that the student, as you called them before, doesn't accept the assessment when the assessor sends it to them to review. They need to accept it and send it back, and they need to do that on their PaddleLog. Can you hear?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep. So they receive an email advising them to do so. But you're right. So I do keep an eye on that in the system, and to be honest, there's only currently about 30. There's none outside of the last month that haven't accepted.
There's
not
about
a backlog
10
in there.
on our website waiting. So would you just flick them back and say they've accepted? That'd be really great. It is the little circling icon that's on the top left-hand side of your, I don't think I heard you explain where it was, on the Paddle app. That is the share button.
Correct.
Can you describe that better, Mark?
When we're submitting the assessment record, is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah, and when you're submitting your logbook and all those things, it's that top left-hand icon, isn't it? The right-hand icon is information and the left is a submit button.
That's more about the functions, correct. There's more of a functions icon. So it has 3 lines, and when you click on that, they'll give you the different functions of that screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And back to our question about the conference. It is also to encourage the guides and the supervisors to step up to maybe the next qualification, because if you're an instructor, then you can run for your club qualified learn to paddle courses, and it's a little way of making money as well for your club. you can apply them to the public. Or if you're outside, then you can run your own training programs if you're an instructor. So I'm hoping guides will step up to maybe the next level. So do come to the conference so you get a better idea of all the different quals and what the quals enable you to do in the education world. Okay, am I clear?
Yeah. And one of the other things that we really want to do, Annette, and everyone else who's here, is we want to try and get people comfortable with the idea of forming networks and helping one another, and
Definitely.
and just being there, because that's one thing that really came out in the last 2 years, is how isolated many people felt and actually were during the lockdowns. So, yep. Right. It is 8:33. We have one more question, and then I'm going to hit the unrecord button. James, you don't have a question? No?
Like I say, if you think of any questions, by all means, give me a call or email them through. It's not a problem at all.
Okay. I don't have a question, but sorry. But I only found out this by accident because I don't usually go into Facebook. I was sort of expecting from our previous webinar that I'd get an email reminder. Is there any chance of that happening, or is it just hopefully I find out about the next one before it happens?
Oh, Patricia, this is such a big discussion that Lynn and I, as the dinosaurs, I sometimes feel we are in the organisation. We will definitely pass your comment on to Paddle New South Wales's events people, because that's exactly what Lynn and I were concerned about, and I think the numbers reflect it.
Because I mean, half the people that were here in the last, most of the people who were here in the last webinar are not here today, well, whether it was of interest or not. But I think we've all signed up for it, so an email reminder shouldn't be really upsetting anybody.
Yeah. No, thanks for that.
Peter was using. Okay, Peter was using the argument that too many emails out to everybody is inundating your inboxes. So perhaps if we could decrease it to just our leaders and coaches, we might be able to form a separate group. Hey, Mo?
I think we send it out through our
difficult question.
Through our club messenger group. That's why there's 3 of us here.
Yeah.
Saw the link and shared it today.
Right.
And,
right.
Yes, this is an interesting space that's relatively new for Lynn and I, and I'm definitely now going to, especially James's comment, because I feel like, because I'm on the far side of 50, it's an age thing. I never go to Facebook. I couldn't be bothered. I don't have time. But James, thank God for you, sweetie, because now I can say it's not just me. We will definitely take that back to Peter Tate to say, no, mate, we're going to have to send these emails out.
I mean, important things come via emails. Everyone needs to check emails, but I don't need to check Facebook. So.
Yeah, maybe it needs to come through Peter Tate's regular emails. I don't know.
Or emails specifically to a list that are registered for this. Generally avoids complaints. Like if it's a list to all everyone that's got a Paddle Education account or Paddle Education New South Wales account or something like that, that's generally a good way to go.
Yep.
There is a link.
Sorry,
there is a link on the Paddle New South Wales website to webinars. That's how I got to it tonight. So maybe a regular visit to the website might be one way of keeping abreast of what's happening.
Yeah.
Not a great amount of enthusiasm for that.
And we'll try and get them in the newsletter as well.
Yeah. I mean, Adrian,
yes. Well, it's on
it's so
the
logical.
landing page, on the very front page at the moment.
Yeah.
But who goes there?
I think it's also on the scrolling news on the homepage.
Yeah.
That's where I found it, and I'm a very new member.
Okay. I'm going paddling.
Okay, Kathy. So you did get it off the website.
Yes.
It
Paddle New
is.
South Wales. Yep.
Okay, cool. That's good feedback. Sue O'Rourke, how did you guys find out about it?
John Young sent me a email, and it was on Facebook.
From Facebook, because I put it onto the Marathon Chat Facebook site yesterday when I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning and thought, oh, nobody's going to know about it, and I put it onto the Marathon Chat. Maybe that's where he picked it up. Yep. Okay. Well, that's good. Yep.
It was on the education page ages ago, a couple of days ago, though, wasn't it? On Facebook, I think that's where I saw it days ago. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yep. Okay.
Anyway, it's time to go.
We'll do a better job with the next one. So we're going to try and hold these at about monthly intervals. The next one will be in about a month. It'll probably be what month are we? May. Mid-June. And I'm hoping to get somebody to come and talk with us a little bit about how the theory behind mentoring and networking. And then that will also help people who are going to the conference with some of the workshop activities that we're planning. The conference, incidentally, is very hands-on. We're going to, it's not going to be someone standing up in front and blabbing away at you guys. It's going to be a little bit of knowledge and then activities related to what you do in your application of your award, be it coaching, PAQS, whatever. Yep. Okay. Well, Mark, thank you so much for your time, and please thank your boys for being so good and not bothering you.
Only one walkway, I think. Yep, all good.
It's all good. And so with that, I will declare this webinar closed. Thank you so much to those of you who've stuck around and for your input and everything. And I hope that PaddleLog and PaddleEd and all the online stuff works better for us all. And please do not hesitate to email Lynn or I if you have any questions, or directly go to Mark. I'll put, Mark, with your permission, can I put your email into chat?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
It's education@paddle.org.au. Okay, everybody, that's Mark Thurgood's email. Most of you have got mine or Lynn's. All right. Well, thanks again, everybody. I will put this up onto the website so you can re-listen to it if you're terribly enthused or you get horribly lost when you navigate the website. Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.